Chris Myers, Fancy Chill Pony over on Twitter, is coming back to you here today with today's value picks for December 14th, 2016. It's looking like a solid slate once again here. Most of the Vegas lines are in, except for a few, I'm assuming, because of injuries in Oklahoma City and the Jazz, and then the Clippers at Orlando. But otherwise, it looks like a standard kind of night. Plenty of games over 105. And then plenty of games under 100. The Memphis games, Philadelphia games, Toronto games, and Detroit and Dallas are well under 100 points. So, things can change over throughout the day with injuries and whatnot, but that's kind of what we're looking at here today. With plenty of good games, a lot of teams well rested now. The Cavs obviously sat Kyrie yesterday, so that he should be back full force today for sure. And his price is still pretty low. Not quite value range, but it's going to make him hard not to play today. And I'm assuming the big three are going, all of them, today, after the day of rest. So, anyways, I hope you guys all had good nights last night and throughout the week. I have to say quick, the optimizer has been really kicking ass this week. I've been using it quite a bit to help kind of fill in some holes and whatnot, and it's been I've had a lot of success this week. So I think now that the NBA's kind of hit this smooth sailing here, the optimizer's kind of caught up to everything and little nicks and knacks that happen in the NBA with minutes and usage and whatnot. And it's making some really good projections lately. So obviously you can't rely solely on that. You need to use some research and other data to help you build your lineups, and it's never a bad idea to kind of do your own thing with it. But if you do need help finding some pivots or some value plays and whatnot, the optimizer and our tools over here have been fantastic this week. So, okay, after that cheap plug, we'll get right on into it here with the value plays. Tonight at point guard, I'm looking first at Elfrid Payton. He's kind of been a roller coaster all season. It's kind of hard to trust him all the time. And some people, but the thing is, a lot of people will be shying away from him simply because he's coming off the bench. He's not starting. But since he's starting, the Jazz have been, or not starting, so the Jazz have been winning games. And even so, coming off the bench, he's still playing about 25 minutes or more. The one thing that kind of concerns me a little bit with Payton today is that they played yesterday and he's coming off a monster game. He had 50 points over on FanDuel last night. 26 real points, 3 rebounds, 14 assists. That's just a massive game for a guy coming off the bench. So whether or not he can duplicate that, I really doubt it. But the thing is, before that he'd been averaging 20.8, 49.7 about 4 games ago, and then 15 and 17. So it's kind of up or down, hit or miss with them, but he's been playing at least 23 minutes or more over his last 5. And with that second unit, his usage is massive. It's 20.7 right now. So Payton's a good value play if you really need someone at the point guard position. He's coming in at 5,100 over on FanDuel, and he's 4,800 on DraftKings. The other option I'm looking at is Andrew Harrison. I actually kind of hate playing this guy. I just don't really like him that much. He doesn't shoot the ball well. But what he's been doing is getting minutes with Conley out, and he's been getting plenty of assists and other peripheral stats to kind of cushion the blow for his poor shooting. And actually, over his last 2, he's been doing okay. He's got 28.6 and 24.9 FanDuel points over his last 2 games. So shooting 13 and 11 points in those 2, along with 4 and 5 assists. So, you could do better. I'd probably opt for Payton over him if you can afford him, simply because of the usage. But if you're more a more comfort zone guy, Harrison's probably your pick. He plays the minutes. His usage is still pretty good. It's about 18.7, and the Grizzlies are also playing the 27th worst DVP team tonight. So that's an appealing option. Thing is, it's the Cavs. They're well rested, as we said. And it's Kyrie Irving, so yeah, Harrison's not a bad option either at point guard. But I think I would probably be leaning towards Payton tonight if you only need one. Over at the shooting guard, we are looking at another Grizzly, Tony Allen. Allen actually played significantly less minutes last night than he had been, and that's probably a good thing for his old legs. But he's kind of been a beacon of consistency this season. He's coming in at only 5,100 on FanDuel and 4,900 on DraftKings. So DraftKings makes him a little bit more appealing, but FanDuel, his price tag isn't outrageous. He's averaging 20 fantasy points a game so far in the season, and he's coming off kind of a stinker, I guess, 15.7. But he only played 25 minutes last night against Cleveland, so I think he'll be getting more minutes tonight, getting back on pace with his 29 plus. And when he is playing, I mean, the game before against Golden State, he played 38 minutes, put up 26.3 fantasy points, and against Portland, 29 minutes, and he put up 32. So I think I like him in this spot again. I mean, he did some damage in the minimal minutes against the Cavs last night. So I'm thinking he's gonna be able to kind of keep up with that and play more minutes tonight. So I'm liking him over on FanDuel especially, yeah, at 5,100. But DraftKings, I'd be willing to probably pay up for him as well. You could do worse. So the other option is actually KCP. I'm really liking him tonight. This guy's kind of a cannonball when he plays. When he's on, he's really, really good. Problem is he has plenty of dud games too. But he's actually been resting a lot with the bum knee. I think it was just a bruise. Looks like he practiced fully on Monday. So he should be good to go tonight, which is good news. He'll be well rested. He's going up against Dallas. It's the 13th ranked team in DVP, so not terrible, only allowing 40 points to the shooting guard position. But I think Pope's going to be back, and I think he's going to be shooting plenty like he normally does. And his usage rate was 21.5 before he missed a game or two with injury. Prior to that, he'd put up 23.7, 22.8, 20 points, 26, and then 34.6. So Pope was kind of consistent over his last 5 games prior to missing. And I like him enough in this matchup. I mean, I think at the cost, 5,100 on DraftKings and 5,700 on FanDuel, he's well worth a shot. And, coming off injury, some guys may be fading him on that for that reason alone. So just be ready for, a possible 8-point game from him. It's always possible. But I think he's going to be coming back guns a-blazing tonight and is well worth the risk and draft spot. At small forward, we are looking at the scorching red hot Joe Ingles. I mean, holy cow, this guy is just a beast coming off the bench, shooting threes, and it's just outrageous. He started his last game, and let's pull that up here. He's 23.2 fantasy points on the 10th against Sacramento. And then against Golden State, he actually put up 39.5. So pretty much he's hot. He could get cold at any point, which is kind of the risk you're taking here. But he's 4,500 on DraftKings and 4,000 on FanDuel. Can't really complain about that price. We got him projected at 29.6 tonight for DraftKings points. And this is the one with the line's not out yet. Oklahoma City against the Jazz. So I think he could be playing some good minutes tonight. We had him projected for 34, and his usage is about 14.3. So not an extremely high usage, but the way he's been shooting of late, that's all you need. He's going to be getting shots, and he's been hitting them. Is pretty red hot lately. So Ingles is one option, and then the other one is one of my personal favorite value plays every time he's on the court is DeMar Carroll. 4,600 on DraftKings and 4,300 on FanDuel. Toronto didn't play yesterday, so he should be rested. You always got to keep tabs on that when they rest Carroll. They do rest him. Tends to be either every other game or every 2 games, something like that. This game's line is 108 with the Raptors favored over Philly. So a higher scoring game, a higher tempo game. And Carroll's projected right now for 32 minutes of play. We all know already that Oklahoma City is pretty terrible at defense, especially against the small forward position. So they're the 29th ranked DVP, allowing 50 points to the position. So if Carroll plays, I think he's a lock as a value play for me tonight across the board. I'm going to be using him plenty. He when he gets the minutes, he can score. He gets rebounds, steals, and assists. He just kind of fills the categories, kind of what you kind of want from a power forward or small forward. And that's what Carroll can do, and I like his matchup a lot tonight. Okay, moving on to the power forward position. I'm looking at Thaddeus Young at Miami tonight, 4,900 on FanDuel. And let's see, how much is he here on DraftKings? He has 5,000 on DraftKings. Got him projected for 27.8 points so far tonight against the 13th ranked DVP. They're allowing 41 points to the power forward position. So not a fantastic matchup tonight, but you could do worse. And for value plays power forward, it's pretty hard to kind of punt this position tonight. I think you're going to have to pay up a little bit for this one. But he's going up against Miami and projected for 32 minutes tonight. But his usage is actually pretty decent. It's 18.5 even with George coming back and playing more. Young is still involved in the game and eating up minutes. And he's been scoring actually pretty well lately too. I guess last game he had kind of a stinker, 17.5. But the game before that he had 44.8 against Portland, more of an up-tempo game. So yeah, there's plenty of risk here. His average on the season is 22.9, but the high-scoring games like he had in the 10th are a little bit kind of pull that off, skew it, because he's only been averaging 17.5, 9.8, 17.8, and 10.4 FanDuel points over his last 5. So plenty of risk here, but I'm thinking Young's in a decent spot here tonight. I think he's going to be able to do enough damage and get you some good value over at the power forward position. At center position, actually no, we got one more power forward, I'm sorry. It's Ryan Anderson, another roller coaster ride player here. 4,900 on DraftKings and 4,900 on FanDuel, same price. This game's in Houston. Sacramento is visiting. The highest scoring game of the slate, 113.25. Houston is favored right now to win. And they're facing the 25th ranked DVP, yeah. So 47.1 fantasy points allowed to the power forward. I know Anderson's been kind of a disappointment to a lot of fantasy owners or DFS guys who've been plugging him in, but tonight might be a decent spot for him, and he's actually been playing a little bit better as of late. His usage rate 17.4, but he had a 29-point outing on FanDuel against Brooklyn on the 12th, 12.9 then against Dallas, and then another 26-point game against Oklahoma City. So I think Anderson's in a decent enough spot here with a high-scoring game. He's going to have to be involved in this offense somehow. And, the hopes that he gets rebounds and a few assists in there as well to pad his stats in case his shot isn't falling. That's kind of the key with him. Anderson's averaging 0.89 fantasy points a minute. So if he's on the court like he's projected to be right now, it looks like we got him for 31 minutes. He should be a relatively safer value play at power forward. And to wrap it up, we're going to go to good old Bismack Biyombo tonight. The Clippers are rolling into Orlando. This is one of the games that's later. The line is not in yet. But he's projected for 30 points, according to the optimizer here, and playing 34 minutes. Biyombo has been actually playing pretty darn good fantasy-wise. He's had a few clunkers in there, but lately, I mean, he's averaging 25.8 his last game, 29.2 the game before that, and then the 10.6 9-point outings. But then again, before that, 36.6, 22.4, 16.8. So Biyombo is there. He's getting the rebounds, crashing the boards. He's even getting some assists and blocks, which is always good. And it's a favorable matchup. 46 points they're allowing to the center position, and his usage rate's not fantastic, 13.5, but in 34 minutes, if you can fill those peripheral stats and get some points along with it,